Hey, hello, how do you do? Shady Doorags here, and welcome to another episode rundown of Miraculous, the tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir. That mouthful, jeez Louise. Today we're looking at episode 20, no, not, today we're looking at episode 2, Mr. Pigeon. See, we're continuing this tradition of really stupid names before even getting into the episode. So, this episode is about basically this guy who he really loves feeding pigeons. I'm guessing he's the husband of the Tuppence lady from Mary Poppins, and he is pretty much but he's not allowed to feed pigeons. You know, the general rules of parks is don't feed the animals and etc. etc. And that the villain guy, I still haven't gotten his name down yet, but he turns him into a villain who is obsessed with capturing the park police, and Ladybug and Cat Noir have to defeat him. You know, just like the other episode. I'm guessing this is going to be the formula, which is what I pretty much saw from the last episode too. That Sailor Moon formula of somebody getting turned into a villain, and they have some unique theme about them. Meanwhile, on the side, Marinette has to design a hat, and this is where a lot of the things about the more interesting part of the show is revealed, because I learned that, you know, Marinette is in this school, and I'm guessing it's a design school because, you know, they were designing hats, and Marinette has this book where she has a bunch of designs, so I'm guessing she wants to be a designer, and since all those kids are in there, I guess Adrienne wants to be a designer as well. Adrienne's a model. We learned that in the last episode, though. Adrienne's dad is a fashion designer himself. He probably owns the school. We also learned that the mean girl is the daughter of the mayor, and we see the mayor in this episode. And yeah, we get a lot more info about the characters that are at the school, which is where my interest is with this show. In a concept wise, I mean, the action I do enjoy, but I come for lots of shows for the characters. Now, I'm a real sucker for characters. One thing I didn't get a chance to talk about in the last one that I meant to was the costume designs. I love Cat Noir's design. I think I really like that. I like that he's got a belt for a tail. I like that his what do they call it? I can't remember what they call it, but his power thing is a ring. I like that it changes his eyes. You know, I like everything about his design. Ladybug's, it's nifty, but I'm not sure what would stand out about it. I think she needs wings, or just something on her that simulates wings, like a cape or something. I don't know, maybe Edna Mode designed the costumes or whatever, but I just think, you know, a skin tight with just one circle thing on her side, the yo-yo on her side. I think that's. I think a little bit more could have been done just to show that she's a ladybug, other than red with spots. But it is what it is. So going into this episode, I want to talk about Cat Noir's Cataclysm. That's what it's called, because I talked about the lucky item, but not Cataclysm. I think Cataclysm is a much better balance of power. Because, like I said in the last episode, Ladybug's lucky item really just feels like a Deus Ex Machina. I like that I know what Cataclysm is going to do. If they are, from both episode 1 and this episode, they were trapped somewhere, and it was something they could not escape. They needed something really powerful, and they said, use Cataclysm. You know, that's good. That's good in the sense that you know that is the solution solver, but with Ladybug's lucky item, it really just feels. I already mentioned this. I don't want to repeat myself from the last episode. Going more into some of the characters, particularly the school characters, Marinette is getting a little bit more interesting. She's a little bit too spazzy for my taste. I mean, I like that she's spazzy, and I mean my taste in characters. I like that she's spazzy, kind of distinctifies her a little bit, but she feels a little bit too spazzy for me to say, like, oh, this is going to be my favorite character or something like that. Adrian is still boring as all outdoors. He's just such a boring, nice guy. Like, I'm guessing the show is more supposed to be about Marinette than Adrian. And I really hope I'm saying Marinette's name correctly. The mean girl, I still haven't gotten her name down. I want to like this Mean Girl so much, but so far they have just done generic Mean Girl stuff, and to the laziest degree of generic Mean Girls. Like you have someone like Diamond Tiara from My Little Pony, or Pacifica from Gravity Falls. Pretty interesting Mean Girl characters, and I've had my complaints about Diamond Tiara, but Diamond Tiara never did anything that specifically could ruin her, either in the eyes of her peers or in the eyes of adults. Other than when she just shunned her best friend, as I don't recall asking you to speak, but I said that before. I thought that moment was really out of character, and they just did that so the CMC could look good. But anyway, going back to this Mean Girl, she tries to steal Marinette's design because she's too lazy to come up with her own. And I'm just thinking to myself, what is your motivation in life? Like you're in this. Again, I'm only guessing that it's a design school, and you don't have your own designs. You're too busy just painting your fingernails. You're not proud of your design. And okay, I can see a Mean Girl stealing a design. I can see that, but you have no thought process into this. You know she's going to make. You know Marinette is going to make that hat. So you decide to make the exact same hat. And you don't even have a good story of how she claims that, oh, Marinette stole my design. Like, but she has nothing ready. No proof at all. I mean, Marinette had this really good comeback that, you know, she signed it. And she wove her signature into the design of the hat. I like that. But it seems more of incompetence on this Mean Girl's part. Like, I would have had more respect for her if she had went out of her way to make it seem like the design was hers. All she said was, oh, she definitely stole my design. So it's her word against Marinette's. Like, that's really poor thinking. Also, her sidekick person. Like, I want to like this character as well, because she's essentially Ellipsis. You know, she follows this Mean Girl everywhere, and it looks like she has a slight worship of the Mean Girl. And people know that I am a sucker for assist characters. I want to like her, but so far she hasn't been that interesting. But we're only in episode 2, so they could bring out a lot more about her. I'm hoping we don't get the generic, oh, I hate my boss type thing, and then she gets turned into an Akuma or whatever. So with that little tiny ladybug thing, I have no idea what her name is. I just keep calling her the tiny ladybug thing. Like, that thing is unfair. I really like chibi characters. That thing is just way too kawaii, man. It's unfair. Like, that thing is gonna be my favorite character, and it's just because of how kawaii it is. It's ridiculous. Chrome bearded man wearing shades and durags, just seriously talking into a camera. That thing is just too kawaii. It's unfair. But one distinct problem I noticed with this episode is Cat Noir and Ladybug do not make really good foils for each other. There's nothing distinct about, like, I enjoy seeing these two characters, but there's nothing distinct about them that makes me enjoy seeing them together. Like, I feel like they want her to be annoyed at him, but she never really is. He does a couple of things. Like, I thought it was funny when he started dancing while he was while he was waiting to get captured, but he never does anything that is so distinctly characteristic. That's a horrible way to say it, but he never does anything that will definitely bring out something of Marinette. You know, you have characters who you know will interest each other or disagree with each other or something like that. It's an uncertainty of how these two will react, and it's not a good uncertainty. They just seem like generic friends rather than really good foils. So that's very disappointing, because anybody who knows me knows that I love characters, and I especially love a good foil. That is, of anything in literature, a good foil is at my top is at the top of my list of things I love in a story. So I hope they get better at it. I really do, because I see potential for these characters. But right now, they just seem like generic friends, generic superhero friends. The villains. The level of stupidity on these villains, and I don't mean the villains themselves are stupid. The villains themselves, this one was actually kind of smart, but just Mr. Pigeon. Like, first, the designs of the costumes are just so quirkily stupid. Like, even though I think Ladybug needs some wings, it's still a cool costume. Like, if I saw a person in real life walking around in that, like, that's a cool costume. Captain Noir has a cool costume. The villain, the main villain, whatever his name is, has a cool costume. But the actual villains themselves are just, it's so crazily stupid looking. And I'm kind of thinking maybe they did that on purpose. But like, as soon as in last episode and in this episode, as soon as they got turned into a villain, I didn't go, uh-oh. I went, are you kidding me? What is this? For both the Bubbler and Mr. Pigeon. And just listen to their names. The Bubbler, Mr. Pigeon. Like, that's worse than Marvel and DC back in the Golden Age. Actually, maybe that might be taken too far. Back in the Golden Age, Marvel and DC came up with some crazy stuff. But yeah, this guy was actually, you know, he used his pigeons pretty intellectually. And I was happy to see that. You know, I thought it was pretty chill how he was just standing on them as they made giant airplanes. Like, the animation on the pigeons was really weird because they had to put a bunch of them together to make objects. But nothing I really want to complain too much about, because I can imagine that must have been really hard to put all those objects together and try to make another object and not have the budget of Transformers to do it. Anything else I want to talk about? Oh, the subplot of Adrienne being allergic to feathers. Like, that did not really go anywhere. Like, yeah, it messed up their first attempt, not their first, like their kind of third attempt to sneak up on him. But, you know, what I thought was going to happen was they were focusing on the fact that he was allergic to feathers. I thought Marinette was going to have to make a new design. I thought the mean girl was going to win, but because Adrienne turned out to be allergic to feathers, Marinette was going to, he was going to wear Marinette's hat or something like that, because he couldn't wear a hat with feathers. But that didn't go anywhere. And then Adrienne comes, and I still think it's ridiculous how much time these two spend together, and they can't look at each other and say, you're the exact same person, but whatever. Adrienne comes, he sees the hat, he sneezes, and he's like, I'm allergic to feathers, and then just walks off, and Marinette's just like, and I'm like, okay, that didn't lead anywhere. Why was that important? Like, are you supposed to, is this going to come back later, and she's going to have a flashback like, holy the dongos, he was allergic to feathers. He's probably Cat Noir. Like, and it didn't make even more sense, because, like, you're allergic to feathers, but you're going to wear that hat. You're planning on modeling a hat with feathers in it that you are allergic to. You are a model. I can imagine you don't want yourself to get messed up in that way. I don't know. There seems to be a lot of holes in this show that are really showing themselves. It's a pleasant little show. I can see the effort put into it. I think because I do plan on watching it to the end of season 1, I think by the time I get there, this show will have a fondness in my heart just because I've spent so much time with it. But so far, I'm still on the track of this isn't my kind of show. Like, I love superheroes, I love corniness, I love all that, but the way this show is putting it all together is not clicking for me personally. Also, the puns. Like, I feel like these puns could make me enjoy them, but the way they're being said is slightly off so that I'm not enjoying them. Like, Ladybug is running across the top of the roof, and then Cat Noir just comes out of nowhere and says, birds of a feather flock together. I'm like, that made no sense. Why did you say that? Was that your way of saying, hey, we're working together again? And she said something like, he said, I'm about to change back. And she said, you wouldn't want to let the cat out of the bag. And I'm like, that would have worked, but the way you said it made it not work. Like, it was a bit too quick. The inflection was slightly off. These are puns that would make me go, ah. I see what you did there. That's funny. But they don't, just because of how they say it. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too nitpicky. Whatever. I want to like this show. I really do. I don't think I'm going in here trying to hate this show. I really do want to like all the aspects of it. Also, I noticed at the intro, you know, they show this circle with like 5 colors on it, and they show these 5 colors whirling around. So I'm thinking there are going to be more Miraculouses out there. Not just Ladybug and Cat Noir. They're probably going to have different items and whatnot. So if that's the case, I can't wait to see them. Because I think the concept of the Miraculous is just, in general, a cool concept. But I like superheroes. Everybody knows this by now. So, all in all, I guess I feel met towards it. I think I feel better than I did the first episode. Because we got a bit more character out of these people. But I would like some more. You know, again, it's the beginning of the show. I'm giving it a lot of leeway for that. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time for episode 3. This has been Shady Doorags. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye.